Okay, first of all, I know the history behind the WNBA. I know that both of those cities have had teams before and they got us where we're at, so I'm thankful for that.
Okay, first of all, I understand the history behind the WNBA. I know both of those cities have had teams before, and they helped build the league into what it is today, so there's respect for that foundation. But what happened next shocked the entire sports world. In a move nobody saw coming, the biggest name in basketball was handed one of the most stunning rejections of her career. And yet, what if that moment, what felt like a public snub, was actually the most powerful turning point she could have asked for? What if the very decision meant to humble Caitlin Clark ended up elevating her to an entirely new level? The anticipation had been overwhelming. As the USA Basketball Olympic roster announcement approached, fans and analysts alike believed it was a formality. Clark, the most electrifying and influential player in the sport, was expected to headline the team. She had shattered viewership records, brought millions of new fans into women's basketball, and transformed the WNBA into must-watch television. Her inclusion wasn't just likely, it felt inevitable. Then came the shock. Her name was missing. The official explanation pointed to a lack of experience with the senior national team, but to many, that reasoning felt weak, almost dismissive. How could the player driving the sport's biggest surge in popularity be left off its most global stage? The reaction was immediate and explosive. Fans, media, and analysts erupted in disbelief, questioning not just the basketball logic, but the business decision behind it. This wasn't just about winning games, it was about growing the sport, and it seemed like the biggest opportunity had just been ignored. As the debate intensified, one voice cut through the noise with unexpected force: Sophie Cunningham. She didn't offer a careful, diplomatic response. Instead, she delivered a passionate, unfiltered critique that instantly went viral. Calling the decision disgusting, she highlighted what many were thinking but few were willing to say publicly. This wasn't just about basketball, it was about business, exposure, and growth. Clark, she argued, wasn't just a player, she was an economic engine for the entire league. Leaving her off the Olympic team wasn't just controversial, it was a massive missed opportunity. Cunningham's reaction transformed her overnight. No longer just a role player, she became a central figure in the conversation, a bold voice challenging the system. In a league where many responses were cautious and measured, she stood out by speaking directly and emotionally. Her stance resonated with fans, amplified her platform, and positioned her as a key personality in the evolving media landscape of women's basketball. It wasn't just support, it was strategy, a calculated move that elevated her influence far beyond the court. Meanwhile, Clark responded in a completely different way. She didn't lash out, didn't fuel the controversy. Instead, she remained composed, professional, and focused. She expressed support for the team and used the moment as motivation. That silence became powerful. By refusing to engage in the drama, she allowed others to defend her while she let her performance speak for itself. And it did. Night after night, she delivered highlight reel plays, broke records, and drew massive crowds, proving exactly why her absence from the Olympic stage felt so significant. Behind the scenes, speculation grew. Some believed the decision was influenced by internal politics, concerns about team chemistry, or even resentment from established veterans. Clark's rise had been unlike anything the league had seen, a rookie entering not just as a player, but as a global star. That kind of attention can shift dynamics, challenge hierarchies, and create tension. Whether those factors played a role or not, the perception alone fueled the controversy. On the court, the intensity was already visible. Clark faced physical defense, aggressive plays, and moments that seemed to go beyond normal competition. It reflected a broader theme, the clash between a rising superstar and an established system adjusting to rapid change. The Olympic snub only amplified that narrative, turning her into a symbol of both disruption and opportunity. From a business perspective, the impact was undeniable. Clark's games consistently broke viewership records, attracted new audiences, and generated unprecedented attention for the league. Her presence alone had become a driving force behind the WNBA's growth. By not including her, the Olympic team missed a chance to maximize global exposure, sponsorship potential, and fan engagement on the world's biggest stage. It wasn't just a basketball decision, it was a moment with massive financial implications, and in the end, what was meant to slow her down had the opposite effect. The decision didn't diminish Clark, it amplified her. It strengthened her connection with fans, elevated her profile, and turned her into an even more powerful figure in the sport. At the same time, it created space for voices like Cunningham to rise, reshaping conversations around the league. What started as a shocking omission became something much bigger, a defining moment in the evolution of women's basketball. Not the moment Caitlin Clark was held back, but the moment she became unstoppable. What followed next was something the league could no longer control. Every game became a statement, every arena turned into an event, and every highlight exploded across social media within minutes. Ticket prices surged, broadcasts spiked, and the entire basketball world kept circling back to one question: how could the most influential player in the sport not be on its biggest global stage? But the conversation was no longer just about absence. It had shifted toward dominance. Caitlin Clark responded the only way she knew how, through performance. Deep logo threes, no-look passes, clutch scoring runs, and record-breaking nights became routine. She wasn't speaking in interviews or arguments. She was speaking through the game itself, and the message was impossible to ignore. Fans who had never followed women's basketball suddenly became regular viewers. Entire arenas sold out just to witness her arrival. Opposing teams treated Indiana matchups like playoff games. The sport wasn't just growing, it was being reshaped in real time around her presence. Inside league offices, the impact was impossible to overlook. Marketing departments tracked massive spikes, broadcast ratings soared, and sponsorship interest surged every time Clark stepped on the floor. The league wasn't just promoting teams anymore, it was orbiting a single storyline, and she had become the center of it. Meanwhile, the controversy surrounding the USA Basketball Olympic roster continued to echo across the sports world. Analysts revisited the decision repeatedly, questioning not just the basketball logic, but the missed business opportunity. What would global basketball have looked like with Clark on the Olympic stage? How many more viewers, fans, and sponsors could have been unlocked? Those questions lingered long after the announcement itself faded. The official explanation had pointed to experience, but many fans didn't buy it. The reaction was immediate and explosive, turning into one of the most debated decisions in modern sports. What was supposed to be a simple roster selection became a cultural flashpoint that exposed deeper tensions around fame, influence, and control in women's basketball. As that debate intensified, Sophie Cunningham stepped directly into the spotlight. Her reaction wasn't measured or diplomatic, it was emotional, direct, and unfiltered. She openly criticized the decision, calling it out in a way few active players dared to. In doing so, she instantly transformed from a role player into one of the most talked-about voices in the sport. Her comments spread rapidly across sports media. Some saw it as truth-telling, others saw it as controversy, but either way, it elevated her profile overnight. She became part of the central narrative, not just as a player, but as a voice challenging the system itself. At the same time, Clark herself took a completely different approach. No outrage, no public backlash, no extended commentary. Just silence and focus. That silence became powerful. While others debated her exclusion, she allowed her game to answer everything. And it did. Every performance reinforced her value, her impact, and her rising status as the most talked-about athlete in the sport. Gradually, what started as a roster controversy evolved into something much larger. It was no longer just about